blood appeared first, then the contractions. Then Derek's phone rang with her name on the screen. Amber, I'm Carolyn Mitchell, and this is the story of how I lost everything in a single night and gained something far more valuable. Picture this. You're 8 months pregnant, bleeding, rushed to emergency surgery, and your billionaire husband, he's choosing his mistress over your dying baby. That was my rock bottom. But here's what the headlines didn't tell you. Here's what went viral for all the wrong reasons. My father, a Fortune 500 CEO, gave Derek Harrison exactly 24 hours. 24 hours to watch his empire crumble, his stocks crash, his secrets exposed, his freedom gone. They said I was vindictive. They said I was cold. They said a lot of things. But 7 years later, I'm standing here as a CEO myself. My daughter is thriving. And Derek, he's serving 35 years in federal prison. This isn't a revenge story. This is a survival story. This is about the 7 layers of healing I walked through. The village I built, the power I discovered when I stopped being his victim and became my own hero. Stay with me, because what happened in that hospital room, what my father orchestrated in those 24 hours, and what I built from the ashes, it's going to change how you see betrayal, motherhood, and second chances forever. This is my story. Every word is true, and it starts with blood on a bathroom floor and ends with something I never expected. Hope. Let's begin. The blood appeared first, then the contractions. Then Derek's phone rang. Caroline Mitchell stood in the marble bathroom of their Manhattan penthouse, one hand pressed against the cool counter, the other cradling her 8-month pregnant belly. The cramping had started 20 minutes ago. She'd ignored it. Braxton Hicks, probably. False labor, nothing to worry about, but then she'd seen the blood. Not a lot, just enough to turn the toilet water pink, just enough to make her heart stop. Derek, her voice echoed through the penthouse. Derek, I need you. She heard him in his study, laughing, that rich, warm laugh that used to make her feel safe. Now it just made her stomach twist. Derek, louder this time, urgent, footsteps, finally. He appeared in the doorway, phone pressed to his ear, still smiling at whatever the person on the other end had said. Hold on, he said into the phone. Not to her, to them, then to Caroline. What? Something's wrong. I'm bleeding. His smile faded. Barely. Can it wait? I'm on an important call. Caroline stared at her husband, at this man she'd married 6 years ago, at this stranger in a $15,000 suit. I'm 8 months pregnant and bleeding. No, Derek, it can't wait. The voice on his phone spoke again. Caroline heard it clearly in the silent bathroom. A woman's voice. Young, familiar. Is everything okay? The voice asked. Amber Sinclair. Derek's marketing director. Derek's face changed, hardened. I'll call you back, he said into the phone. Then to Caroline, his voice flat. You're always so dramatic. It's probably nothing. Another cramp seized Caroline's abdomen, stronger this time. She gripped the counter, breathing through it. This isn't nothing. I know my body. Something's wrong. Derek checked his watch, the Patek Philippe she'd given him for their 5th anniversary, the one that cost more than most people's cars. Fine. I'll get my keys. Carolyn grabbed her hospital bag, the one she'd packed 3 weeks ago while Derek was away on another business trip. Another trip where he'd come home smelling like unfamiliar perfume and claiming the hotel used new laundry detergent. She was such a fool. They drove through Manhattan in silence. Carolyn timed contractions on her phone. 7 minutes apart, 6, 5. Derek texted. His phone lit up constantly. The name on the screen, A.S. Not even trying to hide it anymore. Derek, who are you texting? Work? During a medical emergency? It's important. Carolyn turned away. Watched the city blur past. She'd lived in Manhattan her whole life. Grew up on the Upper East Side. Went to the best schools. Met Derek at a charity gala when she was 26. He'd been charming, attentive, everything she thought she wanted. When had that changed? They pulled up to the hospital. A contraction hit Caroline as she got out of the car, strong enough to double her over. Derek was already on his phone again. Are you coming? She asked. I'll park and meet you inside. Caroline walked into the emergency room alone. A nurse took one look at her face and rushed over with a wheelchair. How far along? 32 weeks? And you're contracting? Every 5 minutes, and there's blood. The nurse's expression changed. Let's get you upstairs right now. They wheeled Caroline to labor and delivery, strapped monitors to her belly. The baby's heartbeat filled the room. Fast. Too fast. Dr. Elizabeth Grant appeared. Caroline had seen her for every appointment. Liked her immediately. She was no nonsense, direct. Didn't sugarcoat. Talk to me, Caroline. What's happening? Cramping, bleeding, contractions every 5 minutes. Dr. Grant examined her. Her face went serious. I'm seeing signs of placental abruption. The placenta is separating from the uterine wall. That's what's causing the bleeding. Is the baby okay? Right now, yeah, Matt. The heartbeat is strong, but Caroline, this is serious. We need to monitor you closely. If the abruption worsens, we may need to deliver. I'm only 32 weeks. I know, but right now we watch and wait. Where's your husband? Caroline looked at the door. Empty. Parking. 30 minutes passed, the contractions intensified, the baby's heartbeat fluctuated. High, low, high again. Derek finally appeared. His hair was mussed. His shirt buttoned wrong. Sorry, the parking garage was full. Had to go to the one 3 blocks over. Liar. Caroline could smell perfume on him. Sweet, floral. Not hers. Dr. Grant updated Derek on the situation. He nodded, as checked his phone, nodded again. His phone rang. He looked at it, looked at Caroline, looked at the phone again. I need to take this. Derek, it's important. Work emergency. He stepped into the hallway. Through the window, Caroline watched him pace, watched him smile, watched him run his hand through his hair the way he always did when he was flirting. She'd seen him do it 1,000 times. In the beginning, he'd done it with her. Dr. Grant squeezed her hand. Are you okay? No, the doctor's eyes were kind, understanding. Where did your husband go? I don't know anymore. Derek came back 20 minutes later. I have to go. Emergency board meeting. The investors are freaking out about the quarterly numbers. Derek, I'm having a medical emergency. You're fine. The doctor said to monitor the situation. You don't need me sitting here staring at monitors. Our baby might come early. If that happens, call me. I'll come right back. He kissed her forehead, mechanical, distant, like kissing a stranger. I'll check in later. Caroline watched him leave. Watched him pull out his phone before he even reached the elevator. Watched the doors close. She picked up her own phone. Her hands shook. She pulled up her contacts. Found the name she needed. Natalie Brooks, her best friend since college. The one person who would tell her the truth. Nat, I need you to find out if Derek is having an affair. Natalie was quiet for a moment, then, I'll make some calls. Where are you? Mount Sinai, labor and delivery. I'm on my way. Carolyn set down her phone, closed her eyes, counted the seconds between contractions, between heartbeats, between the moment her life was normal and the moment everything changed. She knew, deep down she'd known for months, maybe longer. But knowing and accepting were different things. Another contraction, stronger. The monitors beeped frantically. Nurses rushed in. Dr. Grant appeared. Caroline, the baby's in distress. We need to do an emergency C-section. Now. I need to call the check. She dialed once, twice, 3 times. Voicemail every time. She texted, emergency C-section, need you here. A response came immediately. In meeting, can't talk. Then another text. 3 seconds later, Caroline saw it pop up. Watched the words appear. Almost done here. Meet you at our place in 20. Wear that thing I bought you. Wrong recipient. The text was meant for Amber. Caroline's water broke. Not the fluid, something deeper. Something inside her that had been holding everything together. A nurse took her phone. We need to prep you for surgery. Is there someone else we can call? Yes. Caroline's voice didn't sound like her own. Flat, empty. Call Natalie Brooks. Tell her to call my father. Tell him everything. They wheeled her toward the operating room. The fluorescent lights blurred above her. The ceiling tiles passed. She counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4. She used to count Derek's heartbeats when they slept pressed together. Back when they slept pressed together. She couldn't remember when they'd stopped. Caroline, we're going to give you a spinal block. You'll be awake for the delivery. She lay on the operating table. Cold. So cold. They arranged a blue curtain across her chest. She couldn't see what they were doing below. Just felt pressure. Pulling. Tugging. I see the head, Dr. Grant said. Almost there, Caroline. Then a sound. The most beautiful sound Caroline had ever heard. A cry. Small, indignant. Alive. It's a girl, Dr. Grant said. 5 pounds, 6 ounces. She's perfect. They held the baby up, tiny, red, squalling. Caroline started to cry. What's her name? A nurse asked. Caroline looked at her daughter. This tiny person Derek couldn't be bothered to meet. This miracle he'd chosen to miss. Hope. Her name is Hope. They placed Hope on Caroline's chest, skin to skin. The baby's crying stopped. She looked up at Caroline with dark, serious eyes. Hi, baby girl, Caroline whispered. I'm your mama. I'm here. I'm always going to be here. In that moment, with Hope warm against her chest and Derek somewhere across the city with his mistress, Caroline understood something fundamental. She was going to be enough. She had to be. Because no one else was coming. Robert Mitchell arrived like a storm. Carolyn heard him before she saw him. His voice in the hallway, deep, commanding, the voice that ran boardrooms, the voice that made investors tremble. Where is my daughter? The recovery room door opened. Robert strode in, silver hair perfect despite the late hour, wearing a suit that cost what most people made in a month. Behind him, Grace Mitchell moved with quiet elegance, her face pale but composed. Daddy, the word came out broken. Caroline hadn't called him that since she was 10 years old. Robert's face crumpled. He crossed the room in 3 strides, pulled Caroline into his arms as carefully as if she were made of glass. I'm here now, sweetheart. Everything's going to be all right. But it wasn't all right. Nothing was all right. Grace went straight to the bassinet, looked down at Hope sleeping peacefully. Oh, Caroline, she's beautiful. Where is he? Robert asked. His voice could have cut steel. I don't know. He left during the emergency, said he had a board meeting. At 11 o'clock at night? He's lying, Daddy, about everything, the meetings, the business trips, all of it. Robert pulled out his phone. I'm going to make some calls. No, not yet. I need to feed her first. A nurse helped Caroline with breastfeeding. Hope latched immediately, natural, easy, as if she'd been doing it forever. Grace sat beside them. She didn't speak, just held Caroline's free hand. Sometimes silence was the greatest gift. When Hope finished eating, milk-drunk and sleepy, Grace took her. Let me hold my granddaughter while you rest. But Caroline couldn't rest. Her mind raced. 6 years of marriage. Had any of it been real? Robert stepped into the hallway. Caroline heard fragments of his conversation. James, I need everything. Bank accounts, business dealings, personal communications, everything Derek Harrison has touched in the last 5 years. By morning. James Crawford, Robert's lead attorney, the man who'd never lost a case. I don't care what it costs. I want to know what my son-in-law has been hiding. Grace hummed softly to Hope, an old lullaby, the same one she'd sung to Caroline as a baby. How did you know? Caroline asked. About Derek? I didn't, but I had my suspicions. Why didn't you say anything? Would you have believed me? You were so in love with him. Carolyn thought about that, about the early days with Derek, the whirlwind romance, the fairy tale wedding. She'd been 26. He'd been 32. Successful. Charismatic. Everything she thought she wanted. I was in love with who I thought he was. Most of us are, darling. At 2 in the morning, Derek finally appeared. His hair was disheveled. His shirt was still buttoned wrong. He smelled like perfume and wine. He didn't even try to hide it. Sorry I'm late. That meeting ran forever. Carolyn stared at him. Really looked at him. When had he become a stranger? You missed it. You missed her birth. Well, I'm here now. He glanced at Hope in Grace's arms. She's cute, very red. All newborns are red, Derek. He shifted his weight, pulled out his phone, checked it, put it away, pulled it out again. Look, I should tell you something. Let me guess. You're in love with Amber Sinclair. You want a divorce. You've been planning this for months. Derek's face went pale. Actually pale. How did you... I'm not stupid. I've just been choosing not to see it. Robert appeared in the doorway. He was a big man, 6'3", broad shoulders. Right now, he looked 10 feet tall. Derek, we need to talk. Robert, I didn't know you were here. Where else would I be? My daughter just had emergency surgery and my granddaughter was born 2 months early. Where were you? Derek's eyes darted, looking for escape routes. Board meeting, crisis with investors. Funny, I called Marcus Webb 20 minutes ago, your business partner. He said there was no board meeting, said he hasn't heard from you in 3 days. The room went silent. Even Hope seemed to sense the tension. She made a small sound in her sleep. Derek's face hardened. Fine, you want the truth? Yes, I'm seeing Amber. We're in love. This marriage has been over for years. Get out, Carolyn said. Her voice was calm, steady. She surprised herself. Caroline, let's be adults about this. Get out before I call security, before my father does something we'll all regret. Robert took a step forward. Derek took a step back. You should go, Robert said quietly. Now, while you still can. Derek looked at Caroline one more time, at Hope, at the life he was walking away from. We'll talk when you're less emotional. He leaned over the bassinet, probably for show. Probably so the nurses would think he was a good father. Welcome to the world, kiddo. Then he left. His cologne lingered. Caroline used to love that cologne, right? Now it made her nauseous. She picked up her phone. 3 missed calls from her father. She looked at him now, saw the rage carefully contained behind his businessman's mask. Daddy, what are you going to do? What I should have done the day he married you. Due diligence. What does that mean? It means Derek Harrison is about to learn what happens when you hurt a Mitchell. Grace handed Hope back to Caroline. The baby stirred, opened her dark eyes, looking for her mother. Hi, sweet girl, Caroline whispered. Your daddy just left. He chose someone else over us. But it's okay. We don't need him. We're going to be just fine. Hope yawned, her whole tiny face scrunched up. Carolyn felt something fierce and protective surge through her chest. She'd do anything for this baby. Anything, including destroy the man who'd abandoned them both. Robert made another call. Caroline heard every word. James, I need you at the hospital now. Bring the team. We're going after Derek Harrison for everything he's worth. What did you find? That's what we're about to discover. By dawn, Robert's team had set up in a conference room the hospital made available. 3 lawyers, 2 forensic accountants, a private investigator. Caroline sat among them, Hope sleeping in her arms, watching her father orchestrate revenge. Talk to me, Robert said. What do we have? James spread documents across the table. We pulled preliminary records. There are irregularities, significant ones. What kind of irregularities? Money moving in unusual patterns, offshore accounts, shell corporations, and this. James slid a paper toward Robert. Loan documents signed with Caroline's signature. Caroline looked at the papers, saw her name, her signature. I never signed these. I know, James said gently, but that's your signature, or a very good forgery. He forged my signature? It appears so. He used your trust fund as collateral for business loans, $12 million worth. The number didn't register. It was too big, too impossible. He stole from me? We're still piecing it together, but yes. It looks like he's been systematically draining your accounts and using the money to cover losses in his company. Robert's face was stone. Is Harrison Tech profitable? No, it's hemorrhaging money. Has been for at least 2 years, maybe longer. The investors? Being lied to, falsified reports, inflated numbers. If they knew the truth, they'd pull out immediately. Caroline listened to all this from somewhere far away. She was floating, watching her life implode from a safe distance. Grace touched her arm. Caroline, are you all right? He was using me the whole time, not just cheating, stealing. Yes. And Amber? James pulled up another document. Amber Sinclair, 26 years old, originally from Las Vegas, or so she claims. We're having trouble verifying her background. What does that mean? It means she might not be who she says she is. Robert stood, paced. Carolyn had seen him like this before, right before he destroyed a competitor, right before he closed a deal that would cost someone their company. Can we prosecute? Yes, James said. Fraud, forgery, embezzlement. He'd do serious time. No, Caroline said. Everyone turned to look at her. No prosecution. Not yet. I want something else. What do you want, sweetheart? Caroline looked down at Hope, at this innocent baby who didn't ask for any of this, who deserved better than a father in prison, who deserved better than Derek at all. I want him to lose everything, not behind bars, out in the world, watching it crumble, knowing he did this to himself. A slow smile spread across Robert's face. That's my daughter. By 8 in the morning, Robert's team had built their case. Carolyn sat in her hospital bed, Hope nursing peacefully, while her father outlined the plan. I control 30% of Harrison Tech's investor base, Robert said, through my various holdings and partnerships. With evidence of fraud, I can trigger an emergency audit clause. What does that mean? It means the company gets audited immediately by external auditors. They'll find the missing money, the forged documents, the fake reports, everything. And then the investors panic. They pull their money, the stock crashes, Derek's personal assets are called in. How long will this take? Robert checked his watch. 24 hours from the moment we file the paperwork. Caroline thought about this, about Derek somewhere in the city, probably with Amber, probably thinking he'd gotten away with everything. Do it. James pulled out his laptop. I'll file the emergency audit request now. Wait, Caroline held up her hand. I want to know something first. About Amber. Who is she really? The private investigator, a woman named Sarah Collins, opened her tablet. That's a very good question. Amber Sinclair appears to have materialized 3 years ago. Before that, nothing. Oh, everyone has a history. Not her, no college records, no previous employment, no social media older than 3 years. It's like she was born fully formed at 23. What are you saying? I'm saying she's running from something, or hiding, or both. Can you find out what? I'm working on it, but yes, eventually. Good, I want to know everything. James typed something on his laptop, hit enter with a flourish. Done. Emergency audit filed. The clock starts now. 9 in the morning, Derek would be waking up, probably in Amber's apartment, probably happy, probably thinking he'd successfully left his pregnant wife for his mistress with no consequences. He had no idea what was coming. At 9:30, Derek called. Carolyn almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. What the hell is happening? His voice was panicked. Hi, we're being audited, some emergency investor clause I've never heard of. That's strange. Strange? Caroline, this is a disaster. If they audit us, if they find... He stopped himself. Find what, Derek? Silence. Find the money you stole from me? The offshore accounts? The forged documents? More silence. Your father, this is your father, isn't it? He's doing this to punish me. My father is protecting his daughter and granddaughter. Something you should understand. Carolyn, you don't understand. If this audit happens, we're ruined. The company will go under. The investors will sue. I could go to prison. Yes, you could. Please, call it off. We can work this out. I'll end things with Amber. I'll come home. We can go to counseling. It's too late, Derek. You made your choice when you left me bleeding on our bathroom floor. When you missed Hope's birth for a meeting that didn't exist. When you forged my signature to steal my money. How did you... I know everything. The loans, the fake reports, the offshore accounts, all of it. She could hear him breathing. Fast, shallow, panicking. This is a mistake. A huge mistake. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is wasting 6 years on you. Caroline hung up. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, from power, from finally taking control. Grace appeared with coffee, real coffee, not the hospital version. How do you feel? Terrified, exhilarated, like I'm about to watch a building collapse. Good. Natalie arrived at 10. She took one look at Caroline and started crying. I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner. I suspected months ago, but I didn't have proof. It's okay. You're here now. No, it's not okay. You were pregnant and going through this alone, and I failed you. Caroline pulled her best friend into a hug. You didn't fail me. Derek failed me. That's on him. They sat together, Natalie holding Hope while Caroline pumped. This strange new reality of motherhood. Everything happening at once. Crisis and birth and betrayal and feeding schedules. What happens now? Natalie asked. We wait, watch Derek's empire crumble. And after? After I build something new, something real, something that's actually mine. At noon, the first investor pulled out. Caroline watched the news on her phone. Business networks were picking up the story. Harrison Tech under emergency audit, stock down 8% in morning trading. Derek called again. Caroline sent it to voicemail. He texted, please, I'm begging you, call your father off. She didn't respond. Another text. Think about Hope. She deserves a father who isn't in prison. Caroline's blood went cold, using their daughter, their newborn daughter, as leverage. She texted back. Hope deserves a father who shows up. You gave up that right yesterday. At 2 p.m, Marcus Webb called, Derek's business partner. Caroline almost didn't answer, but something made her. Mrs. Harrison? It's Mitchell now. The divorce papers will be filed by end of day. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. What can I do for you, Marcus? I just wanted you to know I didn't know about any of it. The fraud, the offshore accounts. Derek kept me out of the financial loop for the last 18 months. Said he was handling everything. Marcus sounded wrecked, destroyed. My family's money is tied up in this company. My kids' college funds, my retirement. If Harrison Tech goes under, we lose everything. Carolyn remembered Marcus's twins. She'd met them at a company picnic 2 years ago. They'd shown her their rock collection. Asked her about what it was like to live in a penthouse. How much do you have invested? $3 million. Everything I had. I'll talk to my father. See if there's a way to protect your investment. You would do that? After everything? You didn't steal from me, Marcus. Derek did. You're a victim here, too. After she hung up, Robert raised an eyebrow. You want to protect Marcus Webb? He's innocent. His family shouldn't suffer for Derek's crimes. You have a good heart, Caroline. Or I'm a fool. No, you're choosing not to become what Derek is. That takes strength. By 5 p.m, a second major investor had pulled out. The stock was down 20%. Business news channels were running constant coverage. Harrison Tech in free fall after emergency audit reveals accounting irregularities. Carolyn turned off her phone. She didn't need to watch this play by play. The outcome was inevitable. Hope woke up crying, not sick, just newborn crying, tired, overwhelmed. Carolyn understood completely. She walked the hospital corridors with Hope in a carrier against her chest. One of the night nurses, an older woman with kind eyes, fell into step beside her. They didn't talk, just walked. The fluorescent lights hummed. Somewhere another baby cried, another new mother tried to soothe. Finally, the nurse spoke. My daughter's father left when she was born. 35 years ago, best thing that ever happened to us, turns out. She's a doctor now, graduated top of her class, didn't need his last name or his money to become extraordinary. How did you do it? Alone? I wasn't alone. I had my mother, my sisters, my friends. You build a village. You let them help. You survive. And then one day you realize you're not just surviving anymore. You're thriving. The nurse squeezed Carolyn's shoulder and walked away. Caroline stood in the hallway, hope warm against her chest, and let herself believe it, that they'd be okay, that they'd be more than okay. At midnight, Derek posted on social media a photo from 2 years ago, him and Caroline on vacation in St. Lucia, both smiling, both lying. The caption, families go through tough times. Caroline and I are working through some challenges, but our love is stronger than any obstacle. Baby Hope is beautiful. Hashtag family first, stronger together. Natalie sent a screenshot. 3 angry face emojis. He's trying to control the narrative. Carolyn stared at the photo. She remembered that vacation. Derek on his phone constantly, her convincing herself it was work, her smiling for photos while her marriage died in real time. She typed a response, deleted it, typed again, deleted again. Finally, sometimes challenges reveal truth. My daughter and I are beginning a beautiful new chapter. Single mom, new beginnings. She posted a photo of Hope's tiny hand wrapped around her finger. The internet exploded. Think pieces, hot takes, Team Caroline, Team Derek, strangers dissecting her marriage, her life, her pain. Caroline turned off her phone and fed her daughter. Outside, the city glowed. Somewhere out there, Derek was panicking. His world was ending. His empire was crumbling. And Caroline? She was beginning. Hour 1, 10 in the morning. The audit team arrived at Harrison Tech headquarters in Midtown. 5 people in dark suits carrying briefcases and laptops. They looked like executioners. Carolyn watched from her hospital bed through updates from Natalie, who had a friend in the building. They just walked into Derek's office. He tried to smile, tried to charm them. It's not working. Good. Security is escorting them to the server room now. They're getting everything, emails, financial records, all of it. Robert sat in the corner working on his own laptop, making calls, orchestrating. This was what he did best. Build empires, destroy them. Grace had taken Hope for a walk around the maternity ward, giving Caroline space to watch Derek's world end. Hour 3, noon. The stock had dropped another 8%. Investors were calling emergency meetings. Employees were updating their resumes. Derek called Caroline 18 times in 20 minutes. She blocked his number. He called from Amber's phone. Caroline answered out of curiosity. Please, please, Caroline. You're destroying everything I built. Everything you stole, you mean? It was temporary. I was going to pay it all back. The offshore accounts were just for tax purposes. Stop lying. Even now, you're still lying. I've seen the evidence, Derek. The forensic accountants have traced every dollar. You weren't planning to pay anything back. You were planning to run. In the background, she heard Amber. Just tell her the truth. Tell her everything. So Amber knew, had known, had probably helped plan it. The truth? Caroline's laugh was sharp. The truth is you're a fraud, in business and in life. And now everyone's going to know it. She hung up, checked on Hope, sleeping peacefully in Grace's arms, oblivious to the chaos. Hour 6, 3 in the afternoon. Another major investor pulled out, a pension fund representing thousands of teachers and firefighters. Their statement was scathing. We trusted Derek Harrison with our members' retirement savings. That trust was betrayed. We are withdrawing all investments immediately and pursuing legal action. The stock dropped another 12%. Employees began leaving the building with boxes. Security was escorting people out. Victoria Harrison called, Derek's mother, the woman who'd spent 6 years making Caroline feel inadequate, making her feel like she wasn't good enough for the Harrison name. You're destroying him. No, Victoria, he destroyed himself. He made a mistake. Men make mistakes. You're supposed to forgive. Move forward. That's what wives do. He left me bleeding while our baby was in distress. He forged my signature. He stole millions from me. Those aren't mistakes. Those are crimes. You're being vindictive, cold. No wonder he looked elsewhere for warmth. The words should have hurt. A year ago, they would have destroyed Caroline. But now? Tell Derek I'll see him in court for custody, child support, and fraud charges if he makes this difficult. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. Carolyn hung up, realized she was shaking, not from fear, from rage. Years of rage at Victoria's subtle jabs, her constant criticism, her disappointment that Caroline worked instead of just being a corporate wife. You okay? Grace asked softly. I'm done being made to feel small. By Derek, by Victoria, by anyone. Good. Hour 9, 6 in the evening, the audit team found the offshore accounts, $6 million hidden under shell corporations in the Cayman Islands. Amber's name was all over the paperwork. She set them up, James explained. She has the technical expertise, background in finance, or so she claims. We're still trying to verify her credentials. So she's not just the mistress. No, she's a co-conspirator, possibly the architect. Carolyn processed this. Derek thought he was so smart, thought he was seducing Amber. Meanwhile, she was using him. What else did they find? The proprietary technology Derek's been bragging about. The AI algorithm that was going to revolutionize data analytics. Yes? It doesn't exist. Never existed. The demo videos were fake. The client testimonials were fabricated. He sold investors on vaporware. So it's all a lie. From top to bottom. Hour 12, midnight. Caroline couldn't sleep. She walked the hospital corridor with hope, counting steps. 100, 200, 300. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. This is Elizabeth. I was married to the tech CEO in Silicon Valley that Amber Sinclair scammed 3 years ago. I saw the news. I wanted you to know you're not alone. She's done this before. She'll do it again. Unless someone stops her. Carolyn texted back, "Tell me everything." Elizabeth called immediately. Her voice was tired, sad, familiar. My ex-husband met Amber at a conference. She was using a different name then, Rachel Song. She was his assistant, young, beautiful, attentive. Within 6 months, they were having an affair. And the money? She convinced him to set up offshore accounts, to hide assets from me in case of divorce, except she was hiding them for herself. By the time anyone figured it out, she disappeared with $4 million. Did he go to prison? 7 years, he's still in. Amber was never caught, never charged. She just vanished and reinvented herself. As Amber Sinclair. I guess so. When I saw Derek Harrison's photo with her, I knew. Same woman, different name, same scheme. Why didn't you report this? I tried, but she was gone. No evidence, no proof. My ex-husband took the fall alone. Carolyn felt something shift. This wasn't just about Derek. This was bigger. Would you testify, if it came to that? Yes, absolutely. That woman destroyed my family. My kids lost their father. We lost our home. Everything. If I can help put her away, I will. Thank you. After the call, Carolyn sat in the dark. Hope slept against her chest. The city hummed below. Derek wasn't just a cheater. He was a victim too. And a perpetrator. Both at once. But Caroline? She was going to be the one who stopped this cycle. Hour 16, 4 in the morning. Derek posted on social media again. This time a rant. I'm being targeted by vindictive forces who want to destroy my company. This is corporate sabotage. A coordinated attack by competitors who fear innovation. The truth will come out. Justice will prevail. Hashtag stay strong, fight back. The comments were brutal. Dude, you abandoned your pregnant wife. Justice you stole from investors. The only thing being destroyed is your reputation. Carolyn read through them, felt nothing. Derek was desperate, flailing, losing. Hour 20, 8 in the morning, the audit team presented their preliminary findings. James read them aloud in the hospital conference room. Systematic fraud dating back at least 3 years. Forged signatures on multiple documents. False financial reports submitted to investors. Money laundering through offshore accounts. Attempted flight risk. Tickets were purchased for Derek Harrison and Amber Sinclair to Montenegro for tomorrow. Tomorrow, Carolyn felt sick. He was going to leave before hope was even born. Yes. So Derek had been planning his exit all along. The marriage, the pregnancy, all of it just details to tie up before he disappeared with Amber and Carolyn's money. What happens now? Carolyn asked. Now? No. Robert stood. Now Derek Harrison gets arrested. Hour 23, 11 in the morning. Caroline signed divorce papers. Natalie had rushed them through. Emergency filing based on abandonment and fraud. By 5 this afternoon, you'll be legally separated, Natalie explained. His debts become only his debts. Your assets are protected. What about Hope? Sole custody pending final divorce. Given the circumstances, no judge will give Derek visitation rights. Not while he's facing criminal charges. Caroline signed her name, her real name. Carolyn Mitchell, not Harrison. Never Harrison again. Hour 24, 3 in the afternoon. 2 federal agents walked into Harrison Tech headquarters. They carried badges, handcuffs, an arrest warrant. Derek was in his office with his lawyer, probably being told how bad things were, probably still thinking he could charm his way out. The agents didn't knock, just walked in. Derek William Harrison? Yes? You're under arrest for securities fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and forgery. You have the right to remain silent. The perp walk was captured by every news camera in the city. Derek in handcuffs, head down, no more designer suits, no more Patek Philippe. Just shame. Amber was arrested at her apartment 20 minutes later. She looked more angry than scared. Like she couldn't believe she'd been caught. Carolyn watched the news coverage from her hospital bed. Hope was nursing. Grace sat beside her. Robert stood by the window. How do you feel? Grace asked. Empty, vindicated, sad, relieved, everything. That's normal. On the TV, a reporter was interviewing employees leaving Harrison Tech. They were angry, scared, unemployed. This isn't fair, one young man said. We worked hard. We believed in the company. Derek Harrison lied to all of us. Carolyn felt a pang of guilt. These people lost their jobs because of her father's actions. Because of her. Don't, Robert said, reading her face. Don't take responsibility for Derek's choices. He destroyed those jobs. Not you, not me, him. I know, but no buts. You're choosing to feel guilty because you're a good person. Derek never felt guilty once, remember that. The news showed Derek being led into a police station. Victoria was there, crying, trying to push through reporters to reach her son. Caroline almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Ms. Mitchell, this is Detective Sarah Collins. I'm with the Financial Crimes Unit. I need to ask you some questions about your husband, ex-husband, about his business dealings. Of course. Can I come to the hospital? This won't take long. Yes, come now. While Caroline waited, she held hope, counted her fingers, her toes, memorized her face. One day Hope would ask about her father, about why he wasn't in her life. Caroline would have to explain, would have to find words to describe betrayal to a child. But not today. Today, Hope just needed to be held, fed, loved. That Caroline could do. The 24-hour clock had run out. Derek's empire was gone. His freedom, pending trial. His wife divorced. His daughter, someone he'd have to earn the right to know. And Caroline? She was finally free. Detective Sarah Collins arrived at noon with a briefcase and a sympathetic expression. Ms. Mitchell, thank you for seeing me. Call me Caroline. They sat in a quiet corner of the maternity ward. Hope slept in her bassinet between them. The detective kept glancing at the baby, her expression softening. How old? 3 days. She's beautiful. I'm sorry you're going through this with a newborn. Me too. Detective Collins opened her briefcase, pulled out files, photos, documents. I need to walk you through what we've found. Some of it is going to be difficult to hear. I'm listening. Derek Harrison met Amber Sinclair 2 years ago at a cryptocurrency conference in Miami. According to witnesses, she approached him, started a conversation about blockchain technology. They exchanged contact information. 2 years ago, we were celebrating our 4th anniversary. Yes. Within 3 months, she was working at Harrison Tech as marketing director, a position Derek created specifically for her. I remember he said she was brilliant, had fresh ideas. She had experience, certainly, just not the kind he thought. Detective Collins slid a photo across. Amber, but younger. Different hair, different name tag at a conference. This is Rachel Song, Las Vegas, 5 years ago. She worked for a real estate mogul, had an affair with him, convinced him to hide assets offshore, disappeared with $3.2 million. Caroline stared at the photo. So she's done this before. At least twice that we know of. There might be more. She's very good at disappearing, very good at reinventing herself. And Derek? Derek researched her. We found his search history. He looked up Rachel Song, found articles about the Las Vegas case, knew exactly who she was when he hired her. The words didn't make sense at first. Carolyn turned them over in her mind. He sought her out, knowing she was a con artist? Yes. We believe he wanted to learn from her, how to hide money, how to commit fraud, how to disappear. So he wasn't seduced, he was recruiting. That's our working theory. Caroline felt something inside her shift. The last piece of sympathy she'd held for Derek evaporated. He wasn't a victim. He was a willing participant, a student learning from a master criminal. What happens now? Derek is being held without bail, flight risk. Amber is also being held. Her lawyer is trying to flip, wants to testify against Derek in exchange for a reduced sentence. Will it work? Probably. The evidence against her is overwhelming. But if she cooperates, she might get 20 years instead of 40. That's not enough. I agree, but it's better than her walking free. After Detective Collins left, Caroline sat with hope, thought about the last 6 years. Had Derek ever loved her? Or was she always just a mark, a source of money to fund his schemes? Natalie arrived with coffee and legal documents. Divorce papers are filed. Preliminary custody hearing is in 2 weeks. Given the circumstances, it's a formality. And the fraud charges? The DA is building a case. Trial probably won't start for 6 months, maybe longer. So this isn't over. No, but the worst is behind you. Carolyn wanted to believe that. That afternoon, Victoria appeared. No warning, just walked into the room like she owned it. Grace stood immediately. You need to leave. I need to speak with my daughter-in-law. Ex-daughter-in-law. The divorce papers were filed yesterday. Victoria looked smaller than Caroline remembered. Older. Her perfect hair wasn't perfect. Her makeup was smudged. They arrested my son. I know. You did this. No, Victoria, Derek did this. To himself. To his investors. To me. He made mistakes. Stop. Caroline's voice was sharp. Hope startled. Caroline softened her tone. Stop calling them mistakes. He committed crimes. Multiple crimes. Over years. He forged my signature. Stole my money. Lied to thousands of people. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. Victoria's face crumbled. For the first time, Caroline saw past the imperious mother-in-law. Saw just a mother scared for her son. What's going to happen to him? I don't know. That's up to the courts now. You could help him. Drop the charges. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. Please, Victoria's voice broke. He's my son. And Hope is my daughter. What kind of mother would I be if I taught her that men can steal and lie and abandon their families without consequences? Victoria looked at Hope in the bassinet. May I hold her? My granddaughter. Every instinct told Caroline to refuse, to protect Hope from this woman who'd made her feel inadequate for 6 years. But she saw Victoria's hands shaking, saw genuine longing. 5 minutes. Victoria held Hope with surprising gentleness. Tears streamed down her face, destroying her mascara. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm sorry for how I treated you. You tried to be a good wife, a good daughter-in-law, and I made it impossible. Because I knew, deep down, I knew Derek was like his father. Entitled, unfaithful. But I pretended, because that's what I learned to do. It was the most honest thing Victoria had ever said. He can still be a father to Hope, if he wants, if he gets himself together. After prison. After prison, 40 years from now. He made his choices. Victoria handed Hope back. You're stronger than I ever was. Stronger than I gave you credit for. Don't make my mistakes, Carolyn. Don't teach Hope to accept less than she deserves. After Victoria left, Grace squeezed Caroline's shoulder. That was generous. She's Hope's grandmother. That doesn't change. You're a better person than most. That evening, Caroline's phone buzzed. A blocked number. She answered cautiously. Carolyn Mitchell? Yes. This is Marcus Webb's wife, Susan. We met at the company picnic 2 years ago. I remember. Your twins collected rocks. They still do. They ask about you, about when they'll see you again. Susan's voice caught. I wanted to thank you for what your father did. Marcus didn't lose everything. We didn't lose our home because you intervened. Marcus is a good man. He didn't deserve to go down with Derek. Most people wouldn't have cared, wouldn't have thought twice. But you did. In the middle of your own crisis, you thought about someone else's family. I just did what was right. No, you did something extraordinary, and I'll never forget it. If you ever need anything, anything at all, call me. After they hung up, Caroline felt something she hadn't expected. Peace. Small and fragile, but there. She'd made enemies. Victoria, Derek, Amber. But she'd also made friends. Susan, Elizabeth from California. Women who understood, who'd survived their own betrayals. Maybe that was the village the nurse had talked about. Not just family, but survivors, warriors, women who'd walked through fire and came out stronger. At midnight, Caroline woke to Hope crying. Not a normal cry, a different sound. Panicked, painful. What's wrong, baby girl? What hurts? She called for the nurse. Dr. Grant appeared within minutes. She's been crying for 20 minutes. Won't latch, won't settle. Dr. Grant examined Hope. Colic, very common, utterly miserable for everyone involved. How long does it last? Could be weeks, could be months. I'm sorry. For the next 3 hours, Caroline walked, bounced, shushed, sang. Nothing helped. Hope screamed. Caroline cried with her. This was motherhood, the part no one talked about, the impossible parts, the lonely 3 a.m. Moments when you do anything to make your baby stop hurting and nothing works. Grace found them at 4 in the morning, took Hope without a word. Go sleep, I've got her. She won't take a bottle. Then I'll pump and feed her. You need rest. Carolyn slept for 6 hours, woke to sunlight and her mother humming in the rocking chair. Hope, peaceful against Grace's chest. How did you do it? Carolyn asked. Raise me alone while Dad worked 100-hour weeks? Village. I had my mother, my sisters, friends. You can't do this alone, Caroline. But I am alone. No, you have me, your father, Natalie. Susan just called, wants to visit. You have a village. You just need to let them in. On the 5th day, they discharged Caroline from the hospital. She stood in the doorway of her room, Hope in her arms, terrified. I don't know how to do this. No one does, Grace said. You just do it, 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 feeding at a time. They drove to the penthouse. Caroline's childhood bodyguard, now retired, had been rehired by Robert. He carried bags, opened doors, stood watch. The penthouse felt different. Derek's things were gone. His study was empty, his closet bare. Even his smell had faded. Only Caroline's things remained, and Hope's nursery. Soft yellow walls, a crib, a changing table, a rocking chair. When did you do this? While you were in surgery, Robert said. Had a crew come in. They were very efficient. Caroline walked through the apartment. Her home. Not theirs anymore. Just hers and Hope's. In the kitchen, someone had stocked the refrigerator, prepared meals in labeled containers, heat and eat instructions on everything. Grace is doing, Robert explained. She organized a meal train, different friend every day for the next month. I don't deserve this. Yes, you do. You deserve help. You deserve support. You deserve to not have to think about dinner while you're learning to keep a tiny human alive. That night, Caroline sat on her balcony. Hope slept in a carrier against her chest. The city sparkled below. Somewhere out there, Derek sat in a cell, Amber in another. And Caroline? She was here, breathing, surviving, beginning. Her phone buzzed. A message from Natalie. Derek's preliminary hearing is tomorrow. Want me to go? No, I don't need to see him. Just send me the details afterward. She turned off her phone, held Hope close, counted her breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hope's heartbeat against hers, steady, strong, real. This was what mattered. Not revenge, not justice, this tiny person who needed her. Everything else could wait. The preliminary hearing happened without Caroline. She stayed home, fed Hope, changed diapers, learned the impossible rhythm of newborn life. Natalie sent updates via text. Derek looked terrible. Prison jumpsuit, no bail again. Judge called him a flight risk. Amber's lawyer made the flip official. She's testifying against him. Prosecution presented search history. Derek Googled hiding assets from wife 6 months before he met Amber. Judge called it premeditated. This isn't looking good for him. Carolyn read the text while nursing Hope, felt nothing, no satisfaction, no vindication, just exhaustion. Are you okay? Grace asked. I don't know what I am. Hope was 2 weeks old when the colic started in earnest. Every evening from 5 to 8, 3 hours of inconsolable screaming. Nothing helped, not nursing, not rocking, not singing, not desperation. Carolyn walked miles in her penthouse, counted steps, 100, 500, 1,000. Hope screamed the entire time. I'm sorry, baby girl. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to help you. On the worst night, Caroline called her mother at 2 in the morning. I can't do this. She won't stop crying. Nothing I do helps. I'm failing her. While Grace was at the penthouse in 20 minutes, took Hope without a word. Go sleep. I've got her. But sleep, that's an order. Carolyn slept for 8 hours straight, woke to silence, ran to the nursery. Grace sat in the rocking chair. Hope slept peacefully in her arms. How? I didn't do anything different. Sometimes babies just need to cry, and sometimes mothers need to rest. I should be able to handle this. Alone while recovering from major surgery, while processing the destruction of your marriage? No, Caroline, you shouldn't. No one could. 3 weeks post-birth, Caroline got medical clearance. She could drive, exercise, live normally, except nothing was normal. She took Hope to Robert's office. Everyone went crazy. The entire executive floor wanted to hold the baby. She's so tiny. Look at her hands. She has your eyes, Caroline. Robert watched from his office doorway, smiling, actually smiling. Caroline's father didn't smile often. They love her, he said. She's easy to love. In Robert's office, Caroline finally asked the question she'd been avoiding. How bad is it, financially, for me? Robert opened a folder. Derek liquidated 70% of your trust before we caught him. $8.4 million. We might recover some through the fraud case, but it'll take years. So I have. $4 million plus the penthouse, plus your settlement from your old consulting firm, about $2 million. $6 million. To most people, incredible wealth. To Caroline, who grew up with compound interest in diversified portfolios, a fraction of what she'd expected. Can I support Hope? Put her through college? Yes, comfortably, but not without working. Your trust income won't cover your lifestyle. I don't want that lifestyle anymore. I want something real. What does that mean? It means I'm going back to work, really working, not just being a corporate wife, actually building something. Robert's smile widened. That's my daughter. 4 weeks post-birth. Hope smiled for the first time. Really smiled. Not gas. A real smile. Caroline cried, grabbed her phone to call Derek, stopped herself. He didn't get this. Didn't get any of this. He'd chosen to miss everything. She called Natalie instead. Then her parents. Sent the video to Susan Webb. To Elizabeth in California. To everyone who'd shown up. That was family, not biology, not obligation, choice. Showing up, being there. Carolyn started reaching out to former clients. The responses were mixed. We'd love to work with you, but our board is concerned about the publicity. Let's wait until after the trial. You're brilliant, Caroline, but you're too controversial right now. One response was different, from Patricia Sullivan, CEO of Sullivan Pharmaceuticals. Come to my office. Let's talk. Patricia was 70, white hair, sharp eyes. She'd built a pharmaceutical empire from a single patent 40 years ago. I read about what happened to you, not to Derek. I don't care about Derek. Thank you. How's the baby? Perfect. Challenging. Worth everything. They usually are. I had 3 while building this company. Everyone said I was crazy. Proved them wrong. Patricia leaned forward. You're being punished for his crimes. That's garbage. I need a consultant for a product launch. 2 months. Can you handle it? Caroline thought about sleepless nights, colic, nursing every 2 hours. I'll need flexibility. Might need to bring Hope to meetings, work odd hours. Done. We'll make it work. Women have been told we can't have both for too long. Let's prove them wrong. When do I start? Monday. Hope was 8 weeks old. Carolyn picked out clothes for her first day back at work. Nothing fit. Her body had changed. Created life. Fed life. Survived trauma. She ordered new clothes online. Larger sizes. Comfortable cuts. Clothes for a mother. A consultant. A survivor. Monday morning, Caroline dressed in navy pants and a soft sweater. Hope in a carrier. Diaper bag packed. Patricia's assistant showed them to a lactation room. Beautiful. Comfortable chair. Locking door. Desk with monitors. Mrs. Sullivan meditates here sometimes. Says it's the quietest room in the building. Hope slept while Caroline worked. 3 hours of focus, strategy, problem solving. Using her brain for something other than diaper changes. She felt human, professional, capable. At lunch, Patricia brought salads to the lactation room. They ate while Hope nursed. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Why did you stay with him so long? The signs must have been there. Carolyn had asked herself this 1,000 times. I loved who I thought he was. It took time to realize that person never existed. And now? Now I'm focused on hope, on building something real, something that's mine. The contract was 2 months. Caroline threw herself into it, worked during naps, took calls while nursing, learned to function on 4 hours of sleep. The product launch was successful. Trade publications credited Caroline's strategy, her name trending for the right reasons. 3 new clients reached out, then 5, then 10. I think you need to make this official, Natalie said. Reform your consulting firm. Mitchell Consulting. Not Harrison Consulting. Never Harrison again. Month 4, Derek's trial began. Caroline didn't attend. Watch the news instead. Former tech CEO Derek Harrison trial begins. Prosecution claims systematic fraud spanning 3 years. Amber Sinclair testifies against former lover. The trial lasted 2 weeks. Caroline worked, raised hope, built her business. Derek's trial was background noise, someone else's problem. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty, all counts. Sentencing scheduled for 3 weeks later. Victoria called. Oria, will you come to the sentencing so he can see her? See Hope? Caroline looked at her daughter, 4 months old, holding her head up, reaching for toys, becoming a person. Why should I? So someday you can tell Hope you tried, that you gave him a chance. Caroline hated that Victoria was right. 1 visit, supervised, after sentencing, if he wants it. 3 weeks later, Caroline walked into the courthouse for the first time, Hope in a carrier against her chest. Grace beside her, Robert standing guard. The courtroom was packed. Media, victims, employees, lives Derek had destroyed. Derek was brought in. Prison jumpsuit, no designer clothes. He'd lost weight, looked older. His eyes found Caroline, found Hope. He mouthed something. I'm sorry. Caroline's face stayed neutral. She'd practiced in the mirror. The judge entered. Everyone stood. In the matter of the United States versus Derek William Harrison, the charges were read. 17 counts of fraud, 4 counts of forgery, 3 counts of money laundering, 2 counts of obstruction of justice. Each guilty verdict repeated. Hammered home. Victim impact statements. Investors who lost retirement savings. Employees who lost careers. Marcus Webb speaking about trust betrayed. Then Derek's lawyer, pleading for leniency, mental health issues, toxic relationship, desire to know his daughter. The judge was unmoved. Mr. Harrison, do you have anything to say? Derek stood. His voice shook. Your Honor, I take full responsibility. I betrayed everyone who believed in me. I hurt everyone who loved me. I destroyed my family for greed and ego. He turned toward Caroline. Most of all, I hurt my wife, ex-wife, and my daughter, who I've never held. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope someday Hope will know I'm sorry. The judge spoke. Mr. Harrison, you orchestrated sophisticated fraud, showed no remorse until caught, attempted to flee, stole from your pregnant wife, 35 years, federal prison, possibility of parole in 20 with good behavior. The courtroom erupted. Derek's face crumbled. Victoria sobbed. Caroline stood, walked out, didn't look back. In a private room, she nursed hope. Your father got 35 years. You won't remember him. You'll only know the story I tell you. And I promise to tell the truth. So you never make the same mistakes. Hope's eyes drifted closed. Milk drunk, peaceful. A knock. Victoria. May I come in? Carolyn nodded. Victoria sat, aged 10 years and 6 months. I wanted to see her before I leave. Where are you going? Back to Connecticut, selling the apartment. Can't afford it. Derek's legal bills destroyed our savings. Caroline should have felt vindictive. Didn't. Just felt sad. You can visit Hope through proper channels, scheduled times, but there are rules. No talking badly about me. No making Hope feel guilty. No manipulation. Thank you. Victoria looked at Hope. She has your mouth, your nose. She's lucky. Better to look like you. It was the kindest thing Victoria had ever said. After Victoria left, Carolyn sat alone with Hope, processing. 35 years. Hope would be 35 when Derek got out. A grown woman, maybe with children of her own. Derek would miss everything. First steps, first words, every milestone. He chose this. Outside, media swarmed. Caroline's security created a path. Ms. Mitchell, how do you feel? What's next for you? She stopped, looked at the cameras. My daughter was born in crisis. Her father chose not to be there. He chose fraud over family. Today he faced consequences. I'm grateful for justice, but I'm not celebrating. A little girl will grow up without her father. That's tragic, even when it's deserved. She paused. What's next? Raising my daughter? Building my business? Living honestly? That's more than enough. She walked away. The clip went viral. Poised. Graceful. Remarkable composure. Carolyn didn't read them. She went home, ordered Thai food, danced with Hope. They were both terrible dancers. It was perfect. The next morning, Patricia called. I have a proposition. Merge Mitchell Consulting with the Millionaire strategy division. You'd run it, full autonomy, equity stake. I just started my firm 4 months ago, and you've already outgrown it. You need infrastructure. I can provide it. I need flexibility for Hope. Done. Women have been told we can't have both for too long. Let's prove them wrong. Carolyn looked at Hope, at this tiny person who changed everything. Let's do it. 6 months after Derek's sentencing, Hope said her first word. Mama. Not Dada. She'd never say Dada to Derek. That ship had sailed. But Mama. That was real. Carolyn recorded it, sent it to everyone who mattered. Her village. Patricia texted back. Best word ever, first of many brilliant things she'll say. Mitchell Strategy Division launched officially. 5 consultants, all women, all mothers, all brilliant women who'd been told they couldn't have both career and family. We're proving them wrong, Carolyn told her team. Together, the office had 3 lactation rooms, flexible hours, remote work options, sick kid policy that didn't punish parents. Patricia watched from the sidelines. You're changing the industry. I'm just making it possible for women to exist in it. Hope turned one. Caroline threw a party, small, just family and close friends, pink balloons, smash cake that Hope demolished with joy. Victoria came, brought a stuffed elephant too big for any room. The gesture was genuine. She looks happy, Victoria said. She is. So do you. Carolyn realized it was true. She was happy, not despite everything, because of what she'd built from ashes. Marcus and Susan Webb came with their twins. The boys played with Hope gently, made her laugh. Susan pulled Caroline aside. Thank you for everything, for protecting Marcus, for showing us what grace looks like. He didn't deserve to suffer for Derek's crimes. Still, you had every reason to be bitter, to want everyone connected to Derek to suffer. But you chose kindness. Carolyn watched Hope giggling. I'm raising a daughter in a world that's going to be hard enough. I want her to see me choose kindness when I can, boundaries when I must, and the wisdom to know the difference. After everyone left, Caroline sat on the floor, wrapping paper everywhere. Hope exhausted in her high chair, frosting in her hair. 1 year ago, she was 8 months pregnant, discovering the affair, being rushed into surgery, her world ending. Now, a new world existed. She'd built it from nothing. Hope babbled. Not words yet, but sounds, communication, trying. Carolyn cried, happy tears, grateful tears, survivor tears. Month 14, an investigator called. We recovered $3 million from one of Derek's offshore accounts. What do you want me to do with it? Carolyn thought. She could keep it, restore what Derek took. Set up a fund for the employees who lost jobs when Harrison Tech collapsed. Distribute based on length of employment and salary loss. That's generous. It's just, the news leaked. Carolyn Mitchell shares recovered funds with victims. The comments were different now. This is what class looks like. She could have kept it, chose to help others. Derek Harrison never deserved her. Carolyn didn't read them. Too busy working and too busy raising hope. Too busy living. Month 18. Caroline was asked to speak at a women's business conference. Rebuilding after betrayal. She almost said no, didn't want to be defined by Derek forever. But she thought about the women who might be sitting in marriages like hers, seeing red flags, ignoring them. She accepted. The auditorium was packed. 2,000 women. Caroline took the stage with Hope in a carrier. Hope was teething, cranky. Caroline nursed her while speaking. 18 months ago, my husband left me bleeding while I was in labor. He chose his mistress over our baby. He stole millions. From me, from investors, from everyone who trusted him. The room was silent. Today, I run a successful firm. I have a healthy daughter. I've rebuilt my life. And I did it by choosing 3 things every day: honesty, boundaries, and community. She talked about exposing Derek's fraud rather than hiding it, divorcing immediately, accepting help. We're told to be strong, to do it alone. That's garbage. Strength is asking for help. Strength is building a village and letting them carry you when you can't walk. Standing ovation. 2,000 women on their feet. Afterward, dozens approached, told their stories, abusive marriages, financial fraud, betrayal, survival. One woman, maybe 70, grabbed Caroline's hand. My husband left me after 40 years. For his secretary, cleaned out our accounts. This was 1985. I had 3 kids. No career. Everyone told me to take him back. I didn't. I built a life. What would you tell your younger self? That you're stronger than you know. That choosing yourself isn't selfish. That the life you build from ruins will be more beautiful than anything built on lies. Caroline thought about this for weeks. It became her mantra. 20 months after Derek's arrest, Caroline met someone. She wasn't looking, wasn't ready. But life doesn't wait for ready. His name was Michael Bennett. He was a client, founder of a sustainable technology company. Brilliant, passionate about environmental issues. In a meeting Hope interrupted via video call, Caroline's nanny was sick. Mama, look! Hope held up a drawing. It's you! Michael smiled. Seems like we have a guest. I apologize. Don't apologize. She's adorable. What's her name? Hope. Perfect name. He waved at the screen. Hi, Hope. I like your drawing. The meeting continued. Professional. But something had shifted. A week later, Michael sent a package to the office. For Hope, a children's book about marine conservation. Beautiful. Carolyn texted thanks. Michael responded, my sister has kids. I know toddlers love books. Hope you don't mind. Not at all. 3 months passed, professional relationship only. But Caroline noticed things. The way Michael talked about his grandmother who raised him. The way he volunteered teaching kids to code. The way he treated his employees with genuine respect. After a successful project, Michael asked, would you want coffee sometime? Not work, just coffee? Carolyn's instinct was no. She wasn't ready. Her life was complicated. But she remembered the woman at the conference. The life built from ruins. Yes, coffee sounds nice. She picked out an outfit, caught herself overthinking, laughed. It had been 3 years since she'd cared about impressing someone. She texted Natalie, is it weird that I'm nervous about coffee? It's human. Go. Have fun. If it's terrible, you never have to see him again. If it's good, you deserve that too. Coffee became dinner. Dinner became a weekend at the Botanical Gardens with Hope. Michael was patient, let Hope set the pace, didn't try to be her father, just a kind presence. Tell me about Hope's dad, Michael asked one afternoon. Caroline had practiced this. He made terrible choices. He hurt people, including me. He's serving time, but Hope is the best thing that came from that relationship. Everything he wasn't. Do you ever see him? No, he signed away his rights. In his broken way, that was the kindest thing he could do. Michael nodded, didn't push. My dad left when I was 5, just walked out. My grandmother raised me. She was 70 and took in a kindergartner. Taught me everything. She died 3 years ago. I miss her every day. That's why you're so patient with Hope. Maybe I just see how hard you're working. I admire that. Carolyn felt something unfamiliar. Trust beginning. Tentative, possible. 6 months of dating, intentional. Michael met her parents. Robert grilled him. Grace observed with sharp eyes. He's good, Grace said later. Or he's an excellent actor. I did a background check, Carolyn admitted. Full investigation. After Derek, I'm not taking chances. Smart girl. What did you find? He's exactly who he says he is. No hidden accounts, no secret family, no criminal record. Just a guy who built a company, volunteers on weekends, and pays his taxes. Sounds boring. After Derek, boring sounds perfect. Hope turned 3. The party was at a children's museum. Michael helped with crafts, chased toddlers, present, helpful, kind. Hope drew him a picture. This is Michael. He's tall. I love it. Michael hung it on his refrigerator. Texted Caroline a photo. That night, after Hope was asleep, they sat on Caroline's balcony. Can I ask you something? Michael said. Sure. Are you worried I'm going to be like him? Like Derek? Carolyn considered lying, chose honesty. Sometimes. Yes, I'm terrified of trusting someone and being wrong again. That's fair. Michael took her hand. I can't promise perfection. I'll mess up, say the wrong thing, disappoint you in small ways. But I can promise I'll show up. I'll tell the truth. And I'll never make you doubt your reality. It was the most romantic thing anyone had ever said, because it was real. No grand gestures, just presence, just truth. Sunday morning, Michael made pancakes in Caroline's kitchen. Hope sat on the counter, helping by eating chocolate chips. Caroline watched from the doorway. This wasn't the life she'd imagined with Derek. The society parties, the perfect photos, the penthouse life. Instead, she had this: messy kitchen, chocolate-covered toddler, man who showed up and kept showing up. She thought about the Caroline from 3 years ago, 8 months pregnant, discovering the affair. She wanted to tell that Caroline, you will survive this. You will build something better. You will be happy again. But that Caroline couldn't have believed it. Sometimes you have to walk through fire to know you're fireproof. Hope started preschool. Carolyn cried on the first day. Michael held her hand in the parking lot. She's ready. I know, I'm not. You're not supposed to be. That's what makes you a good mom. Mitchell Strategy Division won a major industry award. Caroline gave the acceptance speech, thanked her team, her family. Patricia didn't mention Derek's name once. Someone asked, how did you rebuild after your ex-husband's scandal? Caroline smiled. By realizing I was never defined by his actions, only by my own. Next question. The room applauded. Victoria sent a text. I watched your speech. You were magnificent. Hope is lucky to have you. Caroline texted back, thank you. Want to come to Hope's preschool holiday show next week? I'd love that. 6 months later, Michael proposed at the Botanical Gardens. Hope was with them, picking flowers. He got down on one knee. Hope immediately mimicked him, giggling. Carolyn Mitchell, you're the strongest person I know. You've taught me about resilience and grace and courage. I love you. I love Hope. I want to build a life with you. Not because you need me, but because we choose each other every day. Will you marry me? Caroline looked at him. At Hope, jumping with flowers. at the life she'd built from ashes. Yes, they married 6 months later, small ceremony, family and close friends. Hope was the flower girl, white dress, throwing petals with abandon. Robert walked Caroline down the aisle, whispered, "I'm proud of you, not for finding someone new, for knowing your worth and refusing to settle." "Thanks, Daddy." At the reception, Patricia gave a toast. 3 years ago, Carolyn walked into my office after one of the most public betrayals in recent memory. She had a 2-month-old baby, a shattered reputation, and every reason to give up. Instead, she built an empire. Not just a business, a community. She changed how our industry treats working mothers. Caroline, you've inspired us all. To your happiness, to new beginnings, to choosing better. Everyone raised their glasses. That night, Hope stayed with Grace and Robert. Caroline and Michael were alone in their hotel room. "Tired?" Michael asked. "Exhausted, happy, complete." "Any regrets?" Caroline thought about Derek, about the 6 years with him, the pain of discovery, the fury of betrayal, the long road to recovery. "No, not anymore. That chapter had to happen so this one could begin." Morning, Caroline woke in Michael's arms, sunlight through curtains. She heard Hope's laugh from the adjoining suite. She got up, joined them for breakfast. Hope ran to her. "Mama, Grandpa bought me croissants." 4 years old, brilliant, funny, loved. Robert winked over Hope's head. Grace poured coffee. Michael joined them, rumpled and warm. This was family, not the perfect magazine version Caroline once wanted. The real, messy, chosen version. The version that shows up. The version that stays. 5 years after Derek left, Caroline dropped Hope off at kindergarten. Her daughter ran toward the classroom without looking back. Confident, happy, secure. Caroline sat in her car, watched through the window. 5 years. It felt like a lifetime. It felt like yesterday. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost deleted it. Something made her open it. "I saw your story. Wanted you to know. You saved other women. After Amber got caught with your husband, another CEO came forward. Then another. 3 more cases. She's now serving 65 years total. Because you had the courage to expose it all. Thank you." Elizabeth, Caroline sat in her car, crying, not sad tears, profound tears. She wasn't just surviving, she was protecting others. Her choice to fight back, to expose Derek's fraud, to refuse to stay silent, it mattered beyond her own life. She drove to work. Mitchell's strategy division now employed 40 people, all thriving, all choosing both career and family. She passed Derek's old office building, converted to condos. His name scraped off the lobby, his empire erased. She didn't feel triumphant, just free. At a stoplight, she caught her reflection. 37 years old, laugh lines around her eyes, gray hair she didn't bother covering, scars from her C-section she wore like badges. She'd lived a lifetime in 5 years, survived betrayal, built an empire, raised a daughter, found love, became someone she was proud of. The light turned green. Carolyn drove forward, only forward. That evening she received a letter, prison postmark, Derek's handwriting. She almost threw it away, but Hope might have questions someday. She opened it, 5 pages, handwritten. "Dear Caroline, I've been trying to write this for months. Nothing feels adequate. But I've learned something in prison. Nothing I write will ever be enough. I destroyed our marriage before you knew it was broken. I stole from you, lied to you, abandoned you when you needed me most. I left you bleeding while our daughter was in distress because I was too much of a coward to face what I'd done. Amber didn't seduce me. I sought her out. I knew what she was, what she'd done to others. I thought I was smarter. I wasn't thinking about you, about Hope, about anyone except myself. You asked me once if any of it was real. Our marriage, our love. I think about that every day. The answer is complicated. I did love you in whatever broken way I was capable. But I loved money more, status more. The thrill of getting away with something more. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I signed away my parental rights last year. You were right. Biology doesn't make you a father. Hope deserves better than prison visits, better than carrying my name in shame. I'm telling you this because you deserve to know. None of this was your fault. You were an incredible wife. Brilliant, kind, patient beyond what I deserved. The problem was always me, my entitlement, my greed, my cowardice. I hope Hope grows up to be like you, strong and smart and unwilling to settle. I hope you find someone who appreciates what they have, someone who shows up. I won't contact you again. This is closure, the only kind I can give you. Derek Caroline read it 3 times, looking for manipulation, for hidden requests. It wasn't there, just truth, ugly, simple. Truth. She folded the letter, put it in a folder labeled Hope for later. Someday her daughter would ask about her father. This letter would be part of that conversation. Caroline didn't respond, didn't need to. That chapter was closed. That weekend, Caroline took Hope to the park. They sat under a tree watching people pass. A couple walked by, holding hands, laughing. Caroline felt a small pang, not for Derek, for the idea of partnership, of sharing moments. But then Hope grabbed her finger, looked up with those serious eyes. Mama, can we get ice cream? Yes, baby girl, we can get ice cream. They walked to the ice cream truck. Hope chose chocolate, got it all over her face, laughed. This is the best day ever, Hope announced. Why? Because I'm with you. Carolyn's heart swelled. This was enough. This was everything. 6 months later, Mitchell Strategies Division announced a major expansion. Offices in 3 new cities, 50 employees, revenue in the tens of millions. Patricia pulled Caroline aside at the celebration. You did this. You built this. We built this. No, I provided resources. You provided vision. There's a difference. Carolyn looked around the room, saw women she'd hired, women who'd been told they had to choose, who were now proving they didn't. Thank you for taking a chance on me when no one else would. I didn't take a chance. I made a smart business decision. You're brilliant, Caroline. You always were. You just needed to remember it. That night, Carolyn sat with Michael on their balcony. The city sparkled below. What are you thinking? And he asked. About 5 years ago, about where I was, about how far I've come. You've built something extraordinary. We've built something extraordinary. You, me, Hope, this life. Michael kissed her forehead. Want to know a secret? Always. I knew I loved you the first time I saw you with Hope. You were on that video call, hair a mess, no makeup, exhausted, and you looked at her like she hung the moon. I thought, that's the kind of person I want in my life. Someone who loves that fiercely. Caroline started to cry. Happy tears, grateful tears. I love you, she said. I love you too. Inside, Hope called out, Mama, can you read me a story? Be right there, baby girl. Carolyn went inside, tucked Hope into bed, read her favorite book about a brave little girl who climbed mountains. Mama? Yes, sweetie. When I grow up, I want to be like you. Why not? Because you're brave and strong and you make the best pancakes. Carolyn laughed, kissed Hope's forehead. You can be anything you want, baby girl. Anything at all. Can I be a mama? If you want, but you can be other things too. A doctor, an astronaut, a teacher, anything. Can I be all of them? Yes, you can be all of them. Don't let anyone tell you different. After Hope fell asleep, Caroline stood in the doorway, watched her daughter breathe, counted heartbeats. This was what mattered, this tiny person who changed everything, who made Caroline fight, who made her rebuild, who made her remember who she was. Not Derek's wife, not a victim, not a scandal. Caroline Mitchell, CEO, mother, survivor, warrior. She was enough. They were enough. They were everything. 7 years after Derek left, Caroline stood on a stage in front of 5,000 women. The Women in Business Summit. She was the keynote speaker. Hope, now 7, sat in the front row with Grace and Robert, wearing a little dress, looking so grown up. 7 years ago, Caroline began, my life imploded. My husband left me bleeding while I was in labor. He stole millions, committed fraud, destroyed lives. I stood in a hospital room with my newborn daughter, wondering how I'd survive, let alone thrive. The auditorium was silent. Today, I run a firm with 80 employees across 5 cities. My daughter is healthy and happy. I'm remarried to a man who shows up every single day. I've rebuilt my life, and I want to tell you exactly how I did it. She talked about the 7 layers of healing: surface shock, recognition pain, memory flooding, anger rising, deep vulnerability, quiet strength, transformed power. You have to feel all of it, she said. You can't skip the pain. You can't bypass the anger. You have to walk through every layer. But here's what I learned. On the other side of that pain is power. Real power. The kind that comes from knowing you survived. The kind that comes from choosing yourself. She talked about building a village, about accepting help, about creating companies that support mothers instead of punishing them. We're told we can't have it all. That's a lie designed to keep us small. We can have it all. We just need to build systems that support us instead of sabotaging us. Standing ovation, 5,000 women on their feet. Afterward, hundreds approached, told their stories, asked for advice, thanked her for speaking truth. One young woman, maybe 25, grabbed Caroline's hand. My husband is cheating. I know he is. Everyone tells me to ignore it, to focus on keeping my family together, but I don't want to. Does that make me a bad person? No, it makes you smart. Listen to that voice. It's telling you the truth. What if I'm wrong? Then you have a conversation, set boundaries, make decisions. But if you're right, you'll have saved yourself years of pain. Trust yourself. The woman hugged her. Thank you. That evening, Caroline had dinner with her family. Michael, Hope, her parents, Natalie, Patricia, Susan and Marcus Webb, Victoria, an unlikely family, built from ashes, chosen, real. Victoria pulled Caroline aside. I'm proud of you. I don't know if I've ever said that, but I am. Thank you. Derek writes to me sometimes, from prison. He asks about Hope. What do you tell him? The truth? That she's brilliant, that she looks like you, that she's happy, that she doesn't ask about him. Does that hurt him? Yes, but it should. He made his choices. Later, Caroline tucked Hope into bed. Her daughter was getting too big for tucking, but she still let Caroline do it. Mama? Yes, baby. Someone at school asked about my dad, where he is. I didn't know what to say. Caroline took a breath. They'd talked about this before, but Hope was getting older, understanding more. What did you say? I said he made bad choices and had to go away. Is that right? Yes, that's exactly right. Do I have to be sad about it? No, you don't have to feel anything you don't feel. Some kids have 2 parents, some have 1. Some have grandparents or aunts or uncles. Family looks different for everyone. I have you and Michael and Grandma and Grandpa. That's a lot. Yes, baby girl, that's a lot. Am I lucky? Caroline thought about this, about luck versus choice, about what she'd built from devastation. Yes, you're lucky, but not because of who you have, because of who you are. You're kind and smart and brave. That's not luck. That's you. Hope smiled. I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby girl, more than anything. After Hope fell asleep, Caroline and Michael sat on their balcony. The city glowed below. What are you thinking? Michael asked. About Derek, about whether I should let him have contact with Hope when he gets out. When does he get out? 15 more years, with good behavior. So Hope will be 22. Yes, an adult, old enough to make her own choices. What do you want to do? Carolyn thought about this, about forgiveness versus boundaries, about Hope's future. I want to tell her the truth, give her Derek's letter when she's old enough. Let her decide if she wants contact. But I won't force it, won't guilt her. Her relationship with her father is her choice, not mine. That's fair. Is it? I destroyed him, his life, his company, everything. No, he destroyed himself. You just refused to go down with him. There's a difference. Caroline leaned against Michael. Let herself be held. Let herself rest. Do you ever regret it? Michael asked. Marrying me? Taking on a ready-made family? Never, do you? Never. Hope is the best thing that ever happened to me. Besides you. Inside, Hope called out, Mama, I had a bad dream. Carolyn went to her, held her, sang softly until she fell back asleep. This was motherhood, the midnight wake-ups, the bad dreams, the constant worry, the fierce love. She wouldn't trade it for anything. 10 years after Derek left, Carolyn received a call from the prison. Mr. Mitchell, this is Warden Roberts from FCI Cumberland. I'm calling about Derek Harrison. Carolyn's heart stopped. Is he okay? He's fine, but he's asked permission to send you something, fine. A letter. We have to ask for your consent before forwarding it. What does it say? I haven't read it. That's between you and him. But he says it's important. Send it. Or shall I aim? The letter arrived 3 days later, 1 page. Derek's handwriting, shakier now. Caroline, I read about your keynote at the Women in Business Summit. A guard showed me the article. You're changing the world, making it better. I'm proud of you. I know I have no right to be, but I am. I also read that Hope is doing well, that she's happy. That's all I ever wanted for her. For you, I'm not asking for anything. Not forgiveness, not contact, not redemption I don't deserve. I just wanted you to know you were right. About everything. About me, about what I was, about what I could have been if I'd chosen differently. Thank you for protecting Hope from me, for giving her a real father in Michael, for showing her what real love looks like. I hope you're happy. I hope you're free. I hope you never think about me at all. Derek Caroline read it twice. Felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no pain, just indifference. She put the letter in Hope's folder. Maybe someday her daughter would want to read it. Maybe not. Either way, Caroline was done carrying Derek's story. She had her own story now, her own empire, her own family, her own life, and it was beautiful. 15 years after Derek left, Hope graduated from college. Stanford, like her mother. Top of her class, like her mother. She double majored in business and computer science. Already had 3 job offers. Already had plans to change the world. At graduation, Hope found Caroline in the crowd. I did it, Mama. You did it, baby girl. They hugged, both crying, both laughing. Thank you, Hope said, for everything, for raising me alone, for showing me what strength looks like, for building a company that lets you be my mom and a CEO, for all of it. You did the hard part. You're brilliant. You're going to change the world. I learned from the best. That evening at dinner, Hope made an announcement. I've decided which job to take. I'm going to work at Mitchell Strategy, if you'll have me. Carolyn's heart swelled. You don't have to do that. You have other offers. I know, but I want to. I want to learn from you, to help build what you started, to continue your legacy. Are you sure? Completely. Carolyn looked at her daughter, at this brilliant, confident, kind young woman, at everything she'd become. Then welcome to the team. 20 years after Derek left, Caroline stood in her office. Hope worked 2 floors down. Michael ran his own company. Her parents were retired, traveling the world. Victoria had passed the year before. Peacefully, she'd spent her last years being a good grandmother to Hope, making amends for her earlier failures. Carolyn was 52, silver streaks in her hair, lines around her eyes, scars on her body, wisdom in her soul. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Mitchell, this is FCI Cumberland. Derek Harrison is being released next month, parole. Good behavior. He asked me to let you know. In case Hope wants to see him? Yes. I'll ask her. It's her choice. That evening, Caroline told Hope, your father is being released from prison next month. Hope looked up from her laptop, 22 years old, brilliant, strong, Caroline's daughter in every way that mattered. Do you want to see him? Carolyn asked. Hope thought about this. I don't know, maybe? I'm curious, I guess, but I don't need him. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. Well, what do you think I should do? Whatever feels right to you. I'll support either choice. Hope nodded. Can I think about it? Of course. So I said, well, 2 weeks later, Hope decided, I want to meet him. Once, just to see, to close that chapter. They arranged a meeting, supervised, in a neutral location. Derek arrived looking older, gray hair, thin, worn down by prison. He saw Hope and started to cry. You look just like your mother. Thank you. They sat across from each other. Caroline waited outside. This was Hope's moment, not hers. 30 minutes later, Hope emerged. Calm, composed. How was it? Sad, he apologized. I told him I appreciated that, but I didn't need it. That I have a good life, a good family, that I turned out okay despite him, not because of him. How did he take that? He said he was glad, that he was proud. I told him he didn't get to be proud, that he gave up that right 22 years ago. Do you want to see him again? No, I got what I needed, closure, confirmation that I didn't miss out on anything important. He's just a man who made terrible choices, not a villain, not a victim, just a man. Carolyn hugged her daughter. I'm so proud of you. I learned from the best. That night, Caroline sat on her balcony, the city she'd grown up in, the city where she'd been betrayed, where she'd rebuilt, where she'd thrived. Michael found her there. You okay? Yeah, just thinking. About? About how 22 years ago I thought my life was ending, thought Derek leaving was the worst thing that could happen. And now? Now I know it was the best thing. If he hadn't left, I would never have become who I am. Hope wouldn't be who she is. I wouldn't have you. I wouldn't have any of this. No regrets? Not one. That chapter had to happen so this one could exist. Michael kissed her. I love you. I love you too. Inside, Hope was on a video call with her team, planning a new project, leading, building, creating. Carolyn watched her daughter, saw herself, saw Grace, saw generations of strong women who'd survived, who'd thrived, who'd refused to be broken. This was her legacy. Not the money Derek stole, not the company he destroyed, not the scandal or the pain or the betrayal. This, hope, strength, resilience, the knowledge that you could walk through fire and come out forged in steel instead of reduced to ash. The light turned green. Caroline drove forward, only forward, always forward. The past didn't own her anymore. The future was hers to write, and she was just getting started. So that's my story, from a bleeding bathroom floor to a boardroom, from betrayal to breakthrough, from victim to victory. But here's the thing, I didn't share this story just for me. I shared it for the woman listening right now who's seeing red flags and ignoring them, for the mother who thinks she has to choose between her career and her child, for anyone who's ever been told they can't have both, can't start over, can't rebuild. You can. If this story resonated with you, if you saw yourself somewhere in my journey, I'd love for you to hit that like button. It tells me these stories matter, that truth matters. Drop a comment below. Tell me, what's the bravest choice you've ever made? What would you tell the version of yourself from 5 years ago? I read every single comment, and your stories inspire me just as much as I hope mine inspired you. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. We all know that woman, the one who's staying too long, accepting too little, believing she's not strong enough to leave. Send her this story. It might be the permission she needs to choose herself. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because I share stories like this every week. Real stories. Raw stories. Stories about women who walked through fire and came out forged in steel, not reduced to ash. Your story isn't over. Mine wasn't. And sometimes the chapters we think are endings, they're just the beginning of something better. I'm Caroline Mitchell. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of my village. Now go build yours. I'll see you in the next story.